Hi everybody, this is Dino Chris from Prehistoric Facts and Colossal Fossils. This is a Q&A episode. So the first episode after Thanksgiving break, so let's get started, shall we? So Lukezilla got a couple questions for me. So Lukezilla, who would win, Velociraptor or African wild dogs? Of course, these animals never met each other and also in different time periods. And so Velociraptor lived in the Cretaceous period from 80 to 75 million, from 80 to 70 million years ago. And then of course African wild dogs, those are animals that we see today in Africa. And so how they would play out is that Velociraptor's got the speed. You have the speed and the agility, and then the African wild dogs, they're mammals and they got a little bit better brain power. They're also a tad bit smart, and also they got the biting power and all that. So I don't know. That would be really interesting. But if it was a lone Velociraptor versus a lone African wild dog, I want to go with the African wild dog on this one. Because the Velociraptor would have an advantage, and it has the speed. It's also got the weaponry. But if the African wild dog gets its jaws onto the Velociraptor, it's game over for the Velociraptor. The African wild dog does not really have a huge bite compared to, hyenas, leopards, and lions in its environment, but it would have a significant good enough bite to at least do some damage on the Velociraptor. And now your next one is, who would win, Allosaurus or Baryonyx? That's a good one. So Allosaurus lived in the late Jurassic period, from 155 to 145 million years ago. And then, of course, Baryonyx that lived in the Cretaceous period, in the early Cretaceous period, from around, say, 110 million years ago. And so how would they match up? Well, Baryonyx has got a longer skull, so it might be able to get in some good bites on Allosaurus. But Allosaurus has got a much stronger skull, to be able to withstand some pretty substantial amount of pressure. And of course, both of them have really big claws on their hands, on their forelimbs. So they got really large claws. Baryonyx has got the bigger thumb claw. But I would say Allosaurus would win this one, because Baryonyx, even though it has a kind of like a crocodilian-like skull, it's not going to have enough biting power, whereas Allosaurus would be able to use its hatchet technique, just slamming its skull onto the Baryonyx. It's game over for Baryonyx. It would just bleed to death. And yeah, that would be the curtain call for Baryonyx on that one. But it could go either way. But if it was near water, Baryonyx would have a little bit of an advantage. But if it was on land, Allosaurus would have the advantage on that one. But I would still say Allosaurus would win. Probably say 7 out of 10 on that one. All right, Master, you got a few questions for me. So your first one, did Barinasuchus evolve from a semi-aquatic ancestor? I did research on this a couple days ago, and I looked up where Barinasuchus is part of. And so Barinasuchus, for many of you that don't know, is a crocodile-like creature, and it's a land crocodile, so it is able to live on land. But the thing it's different about it from Barinasuchus to modern day crocodiles is that it does not have cone-shaped teeth, cone smooth teeth that we see in modern crocodiles. These animals have knife-like serrated teeth. So this is something that we see in say modern day, we see in Mesozoic era, in terms of say theropods and a couple of other reptiles. And so did it have a semi-aquatic ancestor? I'm gonna say maybe, because since that we're into the crocodilian family tree, and this is a different type of crocodilian-like creatures, which are land crocodiles. So they did not really go in water that much. They were mostly staying on the land. And Barinasuchus lived in the Miocene epoch. And so, yeah, I would say that it's a possibility that they did have a semi-aquatic ancestor, but I am not totally sure. I think if you asked like somebody in paleontology who has a little bit more of an expertise in the crocodilian phylogeny, I'm pretty sure that they might answer that question a little bit more. But I wouldn't be surprised if a Barinasuchus did have a semi-aquatic ancestor. But that I'd say maybe. And then your second question, did Eukaryotes use sides of their jaws to chew off pieces of meat as their large canines could get in the way if they tried to bite the carcass from the front? That's a really good question. And so many of you that don't know, Eukaryotes are the saber-toothed cats. And so these are the large body cats that have these like really long canine teeth, and you know, those saber teeth. And so he's asking, could they use the sides of their jaws to be able to like shear off pieces of meat and be able to feast that way? Because if they tried to bite the carcass with like say trying with their like the front of their snout, the large canines could get in the way. Well, these animals did have incisors, so they were able to pull off chunks of meat. So how would they be able to like get to the like in the belly part of the carcass without breaking their teeth? Well, scientists still think that these animals were able to use their lower jaw to kind of push up against the belly of the carcass and kind of push up a little bit and then push the skull down to actually like get a good slice into the carcass. But that still remains to be seen. Yeah, it'll still most likely those large canines are designed as killing weapons, you know, to go towards the throat or the neck of the animal and just use those saber teeth to puncture the blood vessels of the neck of the animal, of its prey. But in terms of like, could they use the side of their jaws? I don't know. They could, but I'd probably say they won't because they still have those incisor teeth right in the front of their skull. So they're able to pull off chunks of meat. They might have to pull off like smaller pieces of meat in order for them to like get it inside their mouth so that way they can chew it up and swallow it. And so, yeah, but that's a very good question. Very good question, Master. And your last question was Thelacosmilus an active predator or mostly a scavenger? Well, predator hunter and scavenger thing is kind of something that has been done way too often into the public in terms of paleontology for a lot of carnivorous animals, because there's not really any like side of like which where carnivores can be landing on, because there's no such thing as 100% hunter and 100% scavenger. There's none. And so what I would say is Thylacosmilus is an opportunistic predator. So it would be able to it can scavenge when it had to. If there's like a free meal within a distance that it can go after. If there's a carcass lying around, it will go after it. But if there's no carcasses available that is, you know, considered to be for scavenging, they can go out and hunt. But Thelacosmilus is a very interesting animal, and it's a marsupial that is kind of like a cat, but it's not really a cat, it's a marsupial. And it's got those really large canine teeth. So you have the convergent evolution thing here with like saber-toothed cats and Thelacosmilus. And so I'd say that it was more of a hunt. I would say it would hunt a little bit more than it scavenged, but I would still say it's an opportunistic predator. So it would hunt and scavenge, because all predators do that. All right, the Facebook. So Benjamin, your first question is Irritator the smallest of all Spinosaurs? Yes, it is. When you look at the size charts of the Spinosaur family, Irritator is considered smaller than the other Spinosaurs, like Spinosaurus, Baryonyx, Suchomimus, you know, those types of predatory dinosaurs. And then you have Irritator, which is kind of the smallest one. It's really, really close to another small Spinosaur, but yeah, it is the smallest. It's the lightest of all the Spinosaurs, and also it's the shortest in terms of length. Is Epicyon the biggest of all prehistoric dogs? I have no idea. I tried looking for this, and it did not come up at all. So anybody out there who knows anything about Epicyon, please let me know in the comments down below if Epicyon is the largest of the prehistoric dogs. Please let me know. Is Giganotosaurus the largest of all carnosaurs? Carnosaurs is a dated term, a dated name in paleontology. Paleontologists do not say carnosaur that much anymore. But for Giganotosaurus, where it lies in, is in the Allosaur in the Carcharodontosaur family. And so, is it the largest of the Carcharodontosaur family? Yes, it is slightly longer than Carcharodontosaurus. It is taller and heavier than Carcharodontosaurus. But would I say it would actually be like, say, heavier than say T-Rex in terms of say comparing it to Tyrannosaurus? No, T-Rex would outweigh Giganotosaurus on that one. But Giganotosaurus is the largest of the Carcharodontosaurs and the Allosaurs. But I wouldn't say carnosaur anymore, because carnosaur is a dated term, even though that some paleontologists still use it. It's just that carnosaur is more of a dated name now. And who would win, Irritator or Gorgosaurus? Ooh, good one. So you got a Spinosaur from South America that lived, I believe, 95 million years ago, if I remember correctly. And Gorgosaurus, a Tyrannosaur from Canada, or North America, because Gorgosaurus has been found in Canada and then the Montana, and so these animals never lived at the same time. Gorgosaurus lived around 75 to 70 million years ago, and of course, let's say if they did fight, Gorgosaurus would have the speed, it would have the biting power, the better senses. Irritator's got the longer skull, got larger claws on its hand. But I still say Gorgosaurus would win this one, because Tyrannosaurs were so different compared to other theropod dinosaurs in terms of that, about how they're designed. Even though that Spinosaurs are different from most other theropods as well. But I'd probably say is that Gorgosaurus would have enough speed, and it's also got the better brain, the bigger brain, and so it's able to maneuver and also outsmart Irritator in that sense. But if this was in near water, Irritator could have a small advantage against the Gorgosaurus. But if this was on land, Gorgosaurus would have a huge advantage, because if you put this say fight in the forest, Irritator's not going to have enough room to be able to try to get to Gorgosaurus that much. Gorgosaurus would weave in between the trees, and also put in some sneak attacks on Irritator. And so, yeah, Gorgosaurus would win that one. That's all the questions for today. Next week will be a special episode, so I'll let you guys know what kind of prehistoric animal I'm going to talk about. But you can still send me questions about dinosaurs or any other prehistoric life by email me at dinochris71@gmail.com, or just go on my Facebook page, Prehistoric Facts with Dino Chris. Like the page, yes, you post your questions in the comment section. Please put them in the comment section. Don't put them on Messenger. That's for private conversations. And so please put them in the comment section. And for you YouTubers out there, like the videos, share the channel too, so that way we can share it to anybody that is interested in dinosaurs and other prehistoric life. And also subscribe to the channel, and also stomp on that notification bell, so that way you can get weekly notifications of every video that comes out. And so in December, it's going to be a short amount of episodes, or a small amount of episodes. So we got the Q&A special, and then an extra, and then we'll stop for 2021, and we'll be back, and we'll be going into 2022 with new episodes in January. And so, yeah, that's how the format's going to be. So next week would be the special episode. I'll let you guys know about that. And so, yeah, stomp on that notification bell, for you YouTubers to get notified. And also, feel free to leave your questions in the comment section because I do read them all. Your questions mean a lot in those Q&A episodes. You guys are awesome about that. And make sure you keep your questions short to the point. You can also follow me on Instagram at dino.chris.pf. I post pretty cool stuff on there. You can also follow me on Twitter at CSGRALO. It's my Twitter page. I post pretty cool stuff on there as well. Also, take care of the people around you. Notice for younger people out there that makes you listen, your parents, your teachers, and your guardians. It's the best motivation you can have a good education. It's very important to have a good education. With a good education, get a good job in the future. In this kind of time, if you're not vaccinated yet, please wear a mask, social distance, wash your hands, because that's very important. And if you're not vaccinated yet, please get vaccinated, because that is very important. So that way we can get back to close to normal. And since that things are kind of looking a little bit interesting in the world today, but yeah, so make sure you do the right thing in terms of the pandemic. And also, feel free to check out Colossal Fossils, and I'll put a link in the description down below, so that way you guys can check that out. You can also feel free to donate as well. You can hit the donate tab and donate as much as you want. We're still going after a T-Rex, so if you want to help out for the T-Rex fund, please feel free to do so. Donate as much as you want, so that way we can get to our goal to get a T-Rex. That's it for now, and I'll see you guys next time.